Hey everyone, Chelsea here from Sew Simple Home. Today we have a new really fun project for you. We are making a baby cap. So we have a lot of babies around here these days, lots of nieces and nephews and friends. And so baby caps are such a great little gift for people, and they're super simple. They're really quick and they don't require a lot of fabric. So this is one of the reasons I love sewing for little ones. You can get a lot of projects out of a small amount of fabric. So we're going to sew one up today. So you are going to need the pattern. It's 2 pieces. You can just go down in the link in the description and it'll take you over and you can find the pattern on our site. There's 2, like I said, there's 2 pages to it and there's 2 pieces for this specific project. The pattern starts at newborn and goes up to 24 months, depending on the size of your kiddo's head. But you can always make a muslin and try it out just to make sure that it fits. I know some babies have a lot bigger heads than others. But for this project, if you've never sewn a PDF pattern, we'll just assemble one real fast. It's very easy. You have these markings. This one's a 1 and a 1, and they match up. And you just tape them together, just like that. And now you have the full pattern and the other piece over here. So one of the patterns is the baby cap. It has like 2 pieces of the cap, and then you'll cut 2 of these out. And then the other is the cap band. That's this bottom portion here. And you'll just cut one of those out on the fold. And I've actually already cut them out on some fun fabric that I've had for years, just some scraps that I've had. I made a shirt of this for my daughter years ago, and this is just really cute. And I have all these other fun little Western ones, so I thought they all went together really nicely. So the first thing you're going to do after you've cut them out, so this is the band that was on the fold, you can see that. And then there's 2 of the cap pieces, 2 hat pieces. So you can see here, there's this V in the middle. And that V in the middle is a dart. So what we're going to do to sew the dart is fold the cap in half like this, and then we just sew the dart from one end to the other. And we'll do the same thing on the opposite cap like this. Now, one of the things I always get questions about is sewing on knit fabric. So this is a knit fabric project, so that means you need to have fabric that stretches. You can use fleece because it does have a little bit of stretch to it. You don't need anything with a ton of stretch, like it doesn't have to be super stretchy. It can be, but it doesn't have to be for this particular pattern. So any kind of knit that you have, any kind of stretch fabric, it will not work for cotton woven fabrics. You cannot use flannel or cotton, just regular cotton woven fabrics, calico prints. It won't work because it won't fit over the head. It won't fit good. So you need knit fabric. The second thing is you can use your regular sewing machine. You do not need a serger to sew with knits. And I will actually leave a link in the description for our free Knit So Scary course. It just walks you through sewing with knits on your sewing machine. It's really easy. I've been sewing on my sewing machine with knits for 15-20 years, long time. You can sew on your machine, but there are a few things you want to do. First, you want to have, if you can, a jersey knit needle. And I'm trying to see if I have one here. I don't, oh, here it is. So there's a jersey ballpoint needle. That's what you want. That will actually help you sew on your knit easier, okay? If you don't have that, you can use a universal needle. It'll still work. It just might catch a little bit more. But this is a very small project, so it's not going to be that big of a deal if you're using a universal needle. I would highly suggest, if you choose to start sewing with knits and you're sewing like t-shirts and pants and all of that stuff with knits, make sure you get some jersey needles. The second thing you need to do after you have your jersey needled is to switch your settings on your machine. You should be sewing on a zigzag. So mine's really easy to switch. I go from stitch A to stitch B and I'm on a zigzag. You can choose how wide of a stitch it is, the stitch length. I like to keep it a little bit wider. You can see maybe on the inside of this guy here. The stitch is fairly wide. I don't like it super narrow. That if you have your stitches really close together, you'll end up with what we call a satin stitch, and the satin stitch for this project you don't want. That's something you can use for other types of projects. So mine's set on a 3 for my machine, and I'm on my stitch B. Okay, so I have these folded in half. I am just gonna stitch a zigzag just at 1/4 of an inch from dart, one side of the dart to the top of the cap. Just like I said, at 1/4 of an inch. And I'm using pink thread so you can't see it quite as well. But when you open it, it'll look something like that. Okay? So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna open it. And this time I'm gonna match this dart to the opposite dart right in the middle. Add a pin or clip, whatever you might have on hand. And open it up to match side to side here. So I'm gonna stitch from over here across down to this other side. And I'm leaving the base, this part, the straight side, open because that's where their head's gonna go. So again, I'm just putting it in at 1/4 of an inch. You don't need a back stitch because it's a zigzag, so it's kind of already has a natural back stitch. And also the ends of your stitches will be stitched over, which makes the back stitch. And this little piece that's hanging off here. Okay, get rid of my threads here. There's my cap. Look at that, how easy that is. Turn it right side out so you can kind of see. Now this is the 0 to 3 month size, I believe, is what I'm doing right now. There is a newborn size that's a little smaller, and then we go up to 12 months for all your caps. So lots of choices. Okay, now I'm gonna do my band. So my band, I'm gonna fold in half, matching the short sides over here. And I'm just gonna stitch them at 1/4 of an inch as well. From the top to bottom. Just like that. And then I'm going to turn it right side out. And then I'm going to turn it again so I make a loop, big loop, all the way around. So I'm matching those raw edges on the bottom. So I just have a big loop. Now you can, because sometimes it will move, you can take your iron and kind of press it, and that'll just help keep your edges together a little bit better. Or you can move them as you go. Either one works. Okay, so that's about how it is. So there's our band. Now, something important to look for when you're looking at your knit fabric is if you have a directional print. So this particular pattern is a directional print. You can see here I have these cute little boots, and they are all facing the same direction. They're not turned different directions. So when I actually cut out this fabric, I made sure to place the pattern so all the boots were the right direction. Now for this one here, it's not as big of a deal. It's not really a directional print. You can see all the lines. You know, it doesn't matter if it was this way or this way. Okay, you might personally want it a certain way so that a certain part of the fabric ended up at a certain part of the cap. That's fine. But when we're talking about directional print, on this it matters because when I'm putting my band on, if I put my band on this way, it's gonna turn, and I wanna make sure all my boots are going the correct direction. Okay, that's, I mean, they could go the opposite direction, and you know, you could have upside down boots and a baby's not gonna care. Their mom probably won't care or even notice, but you might care, and you might not wanna have to pick it out. So it's something to think about when you are deciding on material for this project. So we're going to just take the edges here and we're going to pin them down a little bit. Now I'm going to be stretching the band slightly farther than the hat. So the band should be shorter in length than or shorter in width, I guess, than the cap is. And so that will help kind of gather it a little bit and making it a little bit tighter on the baby's head. So I'm just kind of pulling just a little bit as I go. All right, so that's what it will look like once it's sewn, and I'm turning it. All my boots are going to be the right way, so I'm doing good. So it kind of looks like this. It's so small, it's hard to see. I understand that. Then I'm going to take off this portion of my sewing machine here just so it can fit over the arm. I'm going to open up my cap, put it in over the arm, and stitch. Again, I'm just stitching out of 1/4 of an inch. I've lined up this far side, these raw edges, so they should all line up and I shouldn't have an issue as I'm sewing. I'm just stitching across all the way, pulling out my pins as I go, making sure that I have enough stretch on my band that's going around. And then when I get back to the beginning of my stitches, I'm going to stitch over the top of them about 1 inch. And that will be kind of our back stitch. That'll help lock those stitches in places so they don't unravel. All right. And there is my little baby cap. How cute is that? It's so tiny and small. And you can take, I got a ham here. Take your ham, put it in there, and press so you can get it to lay nice and flat. That band. Turn it this way. How easy was that? And super fast. I love sewing baby stuff. It like takes 2 seconds. And we've got all our boots facing the right direction. And then you can put it on your cute baby. I got my Cabbage Patch here. And all her Cabbage Patch glory. She's not the perfect size for a baby, but we'll make it work here. There she is with her cute little cap. And you can always measure your specific baby to make sure their head will fit, or to make it bigger or smaller, or choose the side that you want. But that's it. That's how you make this simple baby cap pattern. So fun, so quick and easy. You can make several in one sitting. It's great for using scrap fabric. All of these fabrics I've had for years and haven't had a use for them because there's just not enough. My kids have grown, but they're perfect for these tiny little caps, and they're really nice and soft materials. So I love them. So make sure you go grab your baby cap pattern. The link is down in the description. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, or if anything comes up that you have an issue with. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. We will see you in the next video.